Now, here on the Hotspot, everybody, we want you to live a healthy island life. Now, of course, that means completing the quad, right? The fundamentals of health. That's managing your stress, getting good sleep, getting exercise, and proper diet. If you do those four, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So we go down to the Boca Box each and every Wednesday, where my buddy Jess Rosario, the proprietor of the Boca Box, last week, of course, was telling us about how to have a healthy Halloween. This week, we're continuing to talk about how to eat well. So, Hafaday, Jess.
Hafaday, welcome back to the Hotspot at the Boca Box. My name is Jess Rosario. I am the owner and nutrition professional here, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about the holiday season. Now, it's November. That means we're going to be going to lots of parties, we're going to be going to lots of gatherings, and for a lot of us, we're still on our diets, right? And we're still trying to eat healthy. And sometimes we talk about consistently. We talk about consistency all the time. And sometimes we get to a point where on our weekdays or when we're at parties, we try to eat healthy, but sometimes that doesn't go according to plan. Now, I wanted to show you guys something that made a lot of sense to me. Now, the good thing about TikTok and social media and stuff is I saw this thing that made lots of sense to me, and I figured I'd show it to you guys and try to get you guys to kind of understand that. Now, what I have is this cup, right? And this cup represents our daily caloric intake for the day. Now, caloric intakes are going to differ from person to person, and it's all dependent upon the type of activity we're doing, if we're exercising, if we're not exercising, how active we are, and so forth. So typically, the caloric intake for a lot of the people that come in and that I talk to is usually around 18 to 2200 calories. Now, this cup represents our daily caloric intake. We're going to eat breakfast, we're going to eat some lunch, and then we're going to eat some dinner, right? And we're pretty good with our total daily intake, and we're at some sort of caloric deficit. But if you're like me, the hardest part of the week is on the weekends, especially Saturday. So I'll have my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then usually, I'll be with family and friends, and I'll go out, and then I'll start drinking a little, start eating more, and I'll drink a little bit, eat a little bit, and then I'm in a surplus. And then I get to a point where I'm just like, I failed, I cheated, might as well just go all the way, and it gets more and more and more and more. Now, what ends up happening to a lot of people is they'll look at this and they'll be like, I failed, I'm done, I already cheated on my diet, why stick to it, right? But we don't need to feel guilty just about one day or one meal or just eating unhealthy for that time period. We don't need to do that. We talked about consistency and eating. And again, looking at everything that we're doing for the day, right? We're going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And throughout the week, this is what I wanted to show you guys. If we're looking at a caloric deficit throughout the week, I'm gonna go Monday, I'm good. Tuesday, I'm in a deficit. Thursday or Wednesday, deficit, and so forth and so forth. Sunday, I'm around that. And Saturday, I eat and I eat and I eat and I enjoy myself, but I'll go just a little bit overboard on Saturday. And what does that do for us? Well, if you take a look at it, I don't need to worry just about Saturday, because throughout the week, I've been pretty consistent with getting a deficit throughout my days. And as it adds up for the week, my net caloric total for the week is still in a deficit. And what that does is it helps me to control and to be consistent with my calorie intake. I'm still going to be able to lose weight. I'm still going to be able to drop some fat, because throughout the week, I'm still in sort of a deficit. Now, weight loss doesn't happen fast. And if it does, then you just got to draw caution to that, because the faster it comes off, the faster it comes back on, especially if we're going on a diet that is very restrictive and we don't like it and we binge and so forth, right? So we want to look at ways to make our days and our meals just a little bit healthier. Now, what are some ways that we can look at being in a caloric deficit, and what are some tips that we can do where we are trying to be in a caloric deficit, but cutting out some of the calories within our day. One of the first things, or one of the things that people like to do now, right, and it's super, super easy, is they start fasting, which means it's a fancy way of saying I'm skipping breakfast or I'm skipping a meal. And what that does is it cuts that caloric deficit in half. I mean, not in half, but it cuts it down. Let's say if we're eating 600 calories for lunch, 600 calories for dinner, and we have a breakfast that is maybe 12, 13, 14, 15, 400 calories, we're at 1,500 calories. And if our total caloric intake for the day should be around 1,800, we're in a deficit of 400, which is good. That's an easy way for you to cut out those calories for the day. Another way to do that is just changing the makeup of our meals. And what I mean by that is going to places like, let's say, the Boca Box, right? Which we're here, and looking at the meals that's being served and changing our meals from being highly processed and calorically rich, but low in nutrients, changing that around to being very high in nutrients, not a lot of calories, right? And so we're looking at more of a way to get more nutrients into our body through fruits and vegetables, which don't add up and which don't have a lot of calories, and minimizing the foods that we typically eat on days that have lots of calories, like rice and breads and things with lots of sugar and desserts and things like that. If we can find ways to minimize or cut those down just a little bit, then we'll be on our way to eating healthy and losing some weight. Especially on the holiday season, again, be realistic about your approach to losing weight. Be realistic about your approach to being healthy. We don't have to be restrictive when we go to parties and when we go to Thanksgiving dinner and say, oh, I'm not going to eat this, I'm not going to eat that. No. Add in some nutrient-rich foods which are low in calorie. Make sure you're eating your fruits and your vegetables. And always find ways that you can enjoy the food that you have, right? For instance, again, like if we're looking at the foods that we're eating, right? A meal like this may look like a lot, but honestly, there's tons of vegetables, there's quinoa, there's good lean protein. This meal itself is only around 600 calories, which is not bad. Maybe a little bit less than 600, right? So again, looking just at calorie content, you want to find ways where you're eating healthy, you're enjoying your food, but you're not too restrictive and you're not eating too many calories in your meal or throughout your day. Again, take time to be with your family, right? Be realistic about your approach to everything. Here at the Boca Box, we try to find ways that we can help you enjoy the foods that you love by making sure you're getting all the proper nutrition, the right portion sizes for everything, and you're enjoying your food without feeling restrictive or without feeling like you're on a typical diet, right? Thanksgiving's coming up, Christmas is coming up, New Year's is coming up, but you can still find ways to be healthy, lose weight, maintain your weight without going overboard and regretting it come the new year, right? Again, we want to be able to help you guys understand ways that you can eat healthy without being very, very restrictive. The use of these cups and the examples that we gave here is just one way to help you guys. There are tons of other ways that you can look at decreasing your calories. Every diet that is out there plays on the fact that we are decreasing our caloric intake somehow. Whether you're doing shakes, whether you're eating wholesome like this, whether you're going keto or you're going low-cal, everything is about decreasing your caloric intake. If you have any other questions, please see me here at the Boca Box. Come in, join us for lunch. We have healthy and delicious meals just like this that aren't high in calories, but very nutrient rich. Again, this is Jess from the Boca Box. Thanks for tuning in to The Hot Spot.
All right, thank you, Jess. As always, outstanding information there. And in case, it bears repeating, that very, very generous portion of salad, I believe that was quinoa, a lot of starch and everything, less than 600 calories. That's going to provide you all the sustenance, all the fuel you need to get around and live your island life. And it's not going to pack on the island pounds. So go check out Jess at the Boca Box. He knows what he's talking about and he cares, and he wants to make sure you eat very, very healthy.